just the way we drew it up, huh, guys? The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, two wild card teams, meeting in the Fall Classic. I got the flannel on because we're talking Fall Classic baseball here. It's the World Series. I'm Casey Honigbaum, co-host of Mound Visit, alongside the former MLB All-Star 15-year Major League veteran Jason Grilli. We're going to get you into today's episode in just a second, but we want to give you a quick reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like to watch the show. And if you just like to listen, you can do that wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Mound Visit Pod. Hit us up there and let us know if there's anything you want to talk about. But we're going to get into a preview of the World Series. We're going to discuss the ALCS and the NLCS on this episode of Mound Visit.
Mound Visit. I'm live from Long Island, baby. If you can tell, my background's a little bit plainer than usual from my studio here at the Vienna Hotel and Spa, Westbury, New York, baby.
And spa. Very nice.
And spa. I haven't checked out the spa yet. I need a little massage. I'm sore after watching some of these beatdowns and what's going on, dude. What? Two wild card teams for the Fall Classic have made it. Case Mound Visit. That's our topic of discussion.
Yeah, you said it. The wild card teams. I said it in the in our little intro to the show, but it's just like we drew it up, right? The two wild card teams meeting in the World Series. Isn't that how we drew it up?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to say I'm being right because you know what? I'm not right, and here's why. I'm allowed to bet on baseball now. I'm not like a la Pete Rose. But I've been terrible.
You're retired now. You could throw a couple.
I wish we were sponsored by FanDuel, but me and my son, we dabble on FanDuel, and I haven't picked right. Even though I went against the grain, I went against the odds of what was, and I was shocked last night. The Phillies at home, that crowd was booing at the end, baby. Holy shit!
Oh my God, yeah. Seriously, all they had to do was win one game. They went back to Philly up 3-2. Just had to win one game. Well, that's tough to not get it done like that, man.
The game, what were they up 5-2? They would have been up 3-1 in the series. They blew that lead where they had a 5-2 lead.
Yep,
and again,
that's right.
Not to take away from the Diamondbacks. I think the reason people might be surprised about the Diamondbacks is we don't get to follow them or watch them much, right?
Very true. Very true.
I think a lot of people don't know who these teams are. Texas has been known since I can remember. They're a banging offensive club. They'll come in there and put a 15 spot on you, and you're like, holy cow.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned before, but the Diamondbacks, man, compile the team. And I think the most impressive part, and people are talking about this, we're no different. Our show is no different than everybody else's in talking about these subjects. But if you don't tune into us, we hope that you do because you get a little insight from my sideways views on things. More structure when it comes to the getting in line, keeping me in line, and the show organized. But no, just if you don't follow the Diamondbacks, an impressive bullpen for two reasons. Not big name players, right?
No.
Their closers throwing 92, 93 miles an hour. Hidden gem right there. And Seawald, and just the way he hides the ball, man, pumping the ball by guys like he's throwing 105. And that's why I said it's crazy that you can see Chapman and guys like that actually are throwing in the hundreds. And here's a guy throwing 10 to 12 miles an hour less, and he's blowing balls by guys. So kids at home, take note. If you're not paying attention to this stuff, structure your game after. These are the things that you got to try to pay attention to. You know what I mean?
Can I say too, and I'm not just saying this because I host this show with you, but he reminds me a little bit of you as a closer because not that you didn't throw hard, but you weren't like, you weren't throwing 103, but that was your thing. Your fastball moved. You had this. Yeah.
If I was throwing 96, 97, that was a good day. I was fresh.
Yeah.
But on a consistent basis, I was a 92 to 95 type of guy.
Yeah.
So I
fastball with a little ride, like you got that.
I learned how to be deceptive. I shortened up my arm path. One because I had to, with broken parts and pieces and pins and needles everywhere. They put Humpty Dumpty, but again, you have to adapt if you want to survive in this game. And
Yeah.
again, I would to my point that I was going to tell you, the Arizona Diamondbacks survived. Their bullpen was kind of in shambles. They've compiled these guys that came in,
Yep.
and they're like, and that's what I said. What I love is they were in, they were in the ballpark getting all their awards, and maybe a few people booing them. But all those guys were sitting there going like, we enjoy each other's. We believed. We were united, and that is the thing. At the end, I always say there's something different. What makes them different? Yeah, they were a wild card. Nobody they had a chip on their shoulder.
Yep.
Kept riding it out. The best.
They were the last team in, man.
But
They were the last team in.
Exactly. So it's never. It's not always. I can't say never. It's not always the best team gets there. But that's to my point. I think this tournament structure and the way Major League Baseball has compiled this, I don't believe it's fair. In a 162 game season, getting a bye is not an advantage. It's not an advantage.
Yeah.
Time off, especially at this time of year. Baseball is a game that you have to play every day. That's why people go, why is there a game you guys play every day? Baseball is a game you have to play every day if you want to be good at it. And to get the rhythm and the synchronicity in that and uniting and your teammates, it all gelling together. And as we see, my case and my point, my argument to anybody, and hey, if you think otherwise, let us know. My opinion, too much time off. The Braves, best team in baseball, had almost 6 or 7 days off. They lost.
Yeah, Baltimore, something like that. I think they have five days off. Yeah.
The Dodgers. These are the teams that won almost 100 games. They did win 100 games, and they're not. Even
all three of them did. Yeah.
Why? I think in part, I can't say it's the only reason, but I think a large part is too much time off. You're playing 162 games. Your body freaking hurts at the end of the year. It's you can't just get it going and simulate it. You have to play and get in a rhythm. That's why I said these wild card teams, which we're watching a World Series, is it the first time ever? 2 teams, wild card, 2 teams.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the first time, but it is. It's the first time that I think this is the lowest combined win total between 2 teams to play in the World Series. So that's a first. I believe the win total combined for the 2 World Series teams is a first. So
that's it, man. I think it's going to be. I'll be told it's a matchup I think nobody had in their Sweet 16, or we call it Sweet 12, but it's like the Sweet 16 in the NCAA tournament, man. They structure it. I think they have to structure it different. Just play it like a tournament. If you're going to set it up in a tournament structure and brackets and all this stuff, then set it up the way that they do basketball, because you got to play this. And I understand there's TV, rights and influences in this for the delays, battling against, the NFL and things like that. But come on, man. Yeah. If you want to see the best baseball played, I felt like we started to see that once there was no time lapse in between. It took a lot of teams, even the good teams.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. That's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, you look at how did Houston come back and how did they get everything going? They were getting in the flow again, and it's and I commend those guys. It was fun to watch. It was hard to watch as I had some money on the line too, but
I know I had a few texts from you that was just like, I got to double down on the Phillies. I guess I got to double down on the Phillies again.
It killed me, dude. It killed me. So I'm keeping somebody's lights on at FanDuel. They're sipping another cocktail on their yacht, an umbrella in their drink. I picked wrong. Well, maybe I'll make it back in the World Series. 2 teams I didn't expect.
That's right.
What's your prediction now? Okay, what do you think?
Oh man. Well, it's tough because I feel like all postseason you've been picking. I mean myself, I've been regrettably so picking against the Diamondbacks because I just didn't. I thought that other teams just had the talent on paper, the firepower. I thought it was just more. I didn't know if they would be able to get past the Dodgers and then the Phillies. But at this point, would I be silly to pick against the Diamondbacks? I don't know, but I think the offense in Texas is just, man, like.
Yeah, I know. I kind of am leaning towards Texas. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say Texas in 6.
I like that.
Prediction.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I
They're going to have
do
to keep
want to.
Arizona's running game. That's a big
Yes.
thing that's overlooked. Arizona's running game is very good. They have a really good running game offensively, but even listening to their players last night, not talking about their bullpen. Everybody kind of pointed to the bullpen as a big reason why. So, and usually in the end, it comes down to now. It's if you have one or two good horses at the front of the staff to carry through. But it's usually the battle of the bullpens coming down the stretch. Who has the better bullpen is going to be the difference maker.
Absolutely. And I want to make throw a quick stat out there. Your point about controlling Arizona's running game. It was interesting because I was waiting. I felt like I was waiting all series in the Philly Arizona series for the Diamondbacks to start running. You got guys like Alec Thomas and Corbin Carroll and Perdomo who can run, guys who got wheels. And I saw an interesting stat. The first games 1-5 in the NLCS, the Diamondbacks as a team stole 1 base. In games 6 and 7, they stole 8. So just like that, I think they figured out they got the timing down, they got the rhythm down of the pitchers, they were able to time up guys' pop times, and Real Muto's got a fantastic arm back there for the Phillies, but they were able to figure something out and able to put that running game to the test. But I want to give some love to the Diamondbacks because I find so many of these statistics that I've seen fascinating. On August 11th, the Diamondbacks were 2 games under 500. Their chances of even making the playoffs, 13.4%. At that point, their chances to make the World Series, 1%. 1%, and look at them now. They win 16 and 34. They were playing 320 baseball over a span of, it was, I think, from July, or what is it, June 13th to August 11th. They were playing 320 ball. That is the lowest win percentage in a 50-game span of an eventual pennant winner in the history of baseball.
Well, let me tell you, whoever got that team kick-started mentally, because I can tell you some of the worst – I know what 8-game losing streaks feel like, let alone 10 or those numbers that you read it off. I know what winning 5 games in April feels like. I was with the Braves in 5 games. We were on pace to win 30 games if you really did the math. 5 games, So it's painful to lose and lose often and lose in a streak where you're like, so to kick up that notch and that mental belief and how they believed in each other, rallied around each other, whatever they did, man, still trying to have fun or only they know the secret sauce of what was going on there, that drive and to keep going forward. I know that's draining, but boy, look at now, man. You're spraying champagne, you're National League champions, and you get a chance to go to the World Series. I'm excited to watch this. I know the West Coast of the country is going to be more in tune. And like I said, if you didn't watch these teams in particular, I think that's the beauty of this is that, if it was a Yankees or a Red Sox or a Dodgers, the big market teams, I almost feel like, MLB wants that, right? MLB wants that. But hey, give some love to where the credit's due. These guys played their hearts out, and I think it's going to be a fun series to watch. Different brand.
I agree with you.
Baseball on both sides of the coin.
100%, and that's I think we can talk a little bit about too. Not to harp on it, but kind of what went wrong for the Phillies. And I think what you said there is kind of it kind of brings it into perspective. The Diamondbacks play a different brand of baseball than a lot of teams that we've seen in this postseason. And when you talk about an 84-win team being able to make the World Series, it's interesting to look at how that happened. And when I look at the Phillies specifically, you look at those first 2 games of that series where they were blasting the ball all over the yard. And even in games, even in the games in Arizona, the ones that they won, they were hitting homers. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference.
It's
Go ahead, yeah.
Doing these little things, executing. There was a bunt, I think who was it? Turner? Trey Turner tried to bunt. It's Lou and he bunted a foul. There's a lot of things that go into doing things that change the course of a game. And
Sure.
execution, man, the Phillies didn't execute. If they're relying on the home run or the next guy to do it, I mean, they had bases loaded. They left bases loaded and didn't score.
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Yeah.
huge buzzkill, bro.
Yeah.
It's a huge buzzkill, and I think just even taking the Phillies crowd out of it,
Mm-hmm.
whoa! I mean, that place
Yeah.
was rocking. If you saw this series before, and the Phillies looked like the team, like there was no stopping them. They looked like
Yep.
they were the team to beat. They were going to come home, and I think maybe they lost a little bit of like, yeah, we got this. Got a little too cocky. Who knows, man? I don't know
Yeah.
what the error is. All I can do is surmise that is my opinion of it, and I feel bad because I was rooting for them the way that they were balling out. They looked like a fun team to have been down the stretch, and I know they made it and came in short last year. So I thought they would go finish some unfinished business for themselves. But hey, we're here, and now I got to pick. I'm going to root for Texas, the team I played for twice, an organization I played for
Yeah.
2 times. I got
That's
some
right.
allegiance there. I'd love to go see the new. I haven't seen the new ballpark. Maybe we go down there. Case,
Mm.
let's go. We always talk about making a
Hey,
trip.
I know. Let's go to the
Do a
World
podcast
Series. How
from
about that?
Global Life. That'd be sick,
Oh,
right? I got the
I
gold
mean,
card
yeah, you're just,
somewhere. I don't know if I could get. I don't know if
hey,
there's
you're
seats available.
speaking my
Wait, wait.
language
I
now.
got
I know, right?
I got a braggadocious, right? Can I got me? It's the best credit card in here. It can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah, here you go.
There it is, baby. There it is. The
Lifetime
lifetime. Look at
member.
that thing.
I don't care if it's nosebleeds. You want to go? Best available. That'll be a packed
Hell yeah.
house. Yeah,
Hell
no,
yeah.
this
I mean, yeah.
people always go show me something cool or whatever. That's the coolest. If I lost
Boom.
that, it'd be heartbreaking.
Oh,
You know,
oh my God. Well, I
but
think I want to
doesn't get
touch
you any
on what
free,
you. No free drinks, no free food, nothing.
free drinks. Just nosebleed seats.
Well, I want to touch on what you said when you talked about the Phillies and kind of their lack of execution, which I thought was really their downfall in a sense. And I think when it seemed kind of like they were thinking, you know what, we got game 6 and 7 at home. We're up 3-2. We just got to show up and play the game. But
Yeah,
sometimes,
it just felt like
you
that,
got to do
man.
more than that. You know what I mean?
Always in hindsight. Like I said, we're
Mm-hmm.
surmising. I don't know. I don't know what that feeling that loomed in their hearts, in their
Right.
minds, the way they went about their business instead of like the way that they. And again, I think, like I said, advantage wild card teams because when you just barely get in and you're so excited that you have a shot to go to the postseason and take as
Mm-hmm.
far as you can, it's almost like well now there's a 3 game set. It used to be a
Yeah.
one and done, and that feeling, dude, to hang on to that postseason, you may never get that chance again as a player.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you try to ride that out, man. But yeah, just some of those things I think are they're breaking down plays. I'm listening to some of the talk shows, and I was listening
Mm-hmm.
to. let me go off topic. Little rant
Yeah.
about. I was driving last night. I had to watch the majority of the game or listen to the majority of the game on XM radio on
Uh-huh.
ESPN, and it was a half an inning delay. So I was talking to my dad and people checking in. I'm seeing the real time score, and I'm like, "The hell's going on?" It's half an inning. I'm like, so I was trying to catch up. I was calling my dad. I'm like, Dad, I'm trying to meet him at the bar. He's down here in Long Island, and
Yeah.
game updates, and I'm like, this sucks. So I gotta yell at XM radio. Gonna get a refund for that. I mean, it's pissing me off, dude.
That's
You
got to be
know,
an infuriating way to watch to watch or listen to a game.
it
Just
was
being
terrible,
that
dude.
would
It
give
was
me
like
so much anxiety not
it
knowing
was. I
live.
was, yeah, yeah. I was driving angry. It's not a way to drive angry.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not.
I wish I could know the future about how to bet better because I stuck at
Mm.
that. I picked
We
wrong
all
there.
do. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So thanks
It's
again to
interesting too.
FanDuel, who's not a sponsor or whatever, but maybe if they hear us. Maybe they'll get with it. Kids, don't bet. Keep your money in your pocket.
The problem is if we were sponsored by FanDuel, we would have to do, because all these these podcasts and shows that are sponsored by FanDuel, the host or the host will give their picks. But the problem is, I don't know if they would spot. We'd be losing customers money. You know what I mean? They'd have the Jason Grilli parlay. You know what I mean? I don't know if that.
Well, if they took my advice and bet on the wild card teams, they would have won a lot of money.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, I want to dive into some numbers. Yeah. You gotta. It's man.
Give us the deets.
Betting is never easy. Well, let me dive into some numbers here quick, and then we could talk more about the matchup. But when we talk about the Phillies, and I think it's kind of simple. You look at their big boppers, and that's what's so interesting, because the Diamondbacks are made up of, not that the players aren't good, and not that they don't have special talent on that team. Corbin Carroll is a superstar, and people are finding that out very quickly. But when you look at the Phillies, you've got almost $1 billion invested in Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos. These are superstar level players.
Yeah, you expect
1 for
more
5 from Schwarber.
That roster.
I mean, listen to this. They win those 4 guys win a combined 1 for 28 in games 6 and 7. So that, that's not going to get it done. You need guys like, right?
Oh my God.
1 for 28.
I didn't know it was that. Wow.
Yeah. It's when you get that kind of, when you can stifle that part of the Phillies offense and really attack the bottom part of their order. And I also think the lineup construction was a little interesting, having Bohm and Stott hit 4 and 5. I thought that, you've got Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber for a reason, Go ahead.
And I might be talking out of my ass a little bit because I'm a pitcher where I got 1 home run under my belt. But let's face it again. Let's break down the way our game, the brand of baseball that's being played. Yep. Everybody likes the glorified home run and the celebrations and the this and the that. Unless, trust me, I like to celebrate. I'm a very emotional player out there. I was actually more scared than excited sometimes celebrating because I got to play again. But when you hit a home run, right, and expect to do it at the clip that people are doing it, you lose the touch of being a hitter. And I saw Billy Ripken kind of breaking this down on the MLB Network, where he's looking at the launch angle of 10 degrees. I can't say the cone. He called it the cone.
Sure.
And whether or not these hitters are being selective on when to in their mind to launch, or in their mind to try to just say, hey, I'm trying to drive a run in here, right? I don't know what the mentality is anymore, because when you're sitting there going like, hey, this guy's hitting $170, but he's got 50 bombs. Well, you know what kind of mentality he's got, right? It's easy to kind of say that. And this is coming from a pitcher. All right, so how am I going to pitch him differently? Whereas a guy like, I hated a guy that would foul balls off and I'd throw an inning, 10 pitches to him, right? I don't think that approach, if you just gave me those numbers, 1 for 28, what approach was going on there? Because, and again, these are professionals, man. Kudos to them. They were the best in the league. A lineup like that, sick players, sick lineup. I wouldn't want to face them. Their murderers row, the Phillies murderers row. But what was their philosophy? Because if you're sitting there trying to not just manufacture a run, even if you're down, that kind of brand of baseball is kind of gone, man. It's gone.
Yeah.
So that's
why I think that's what Arizona did so well.
Well, that's why I was just about to say that. You finished my thought.
Yeah.
They're playing a brand of baseball. No, that's where you go, okay, are they going to put up the 11-4 game? Doesn't look like a team that they're going to be that type of team where they're going to pump out 10, 11, 12. Texas will. Texas can. It showed that they do. But Arizona is going to play a different brand of baseball. That's what's gotten them to that point. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic to see. And again, if they manufacture runs, I think battle of the bullpens. Arizona gets the props on that. I think they take the advantage there. If they score enough runs and they can hold and get to that bullpen, I think Texas could be in trouble. That's the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you make a great point. It's right now, it looks like their bullpen is pretty elite. But I mean, we've talked a lot about this Arizona Philadelphia series. There was another one that went all the way to a game 7. And I think it's crazy because we talked about this last week when the two of us were like, you know what? It doesn't seem like this is over between Houston and Texas when Texas went up 2-0, and sure enough, it wasn't. They went to a game 7. But how about the road team winning every single game in that series? Can you tell, like, for Houston to not even win one game at home is mind blowing to me? But I wanted to ask you, like, from a player's perspective, why do you think that is? Because I know we talked about this and I threw out some numbers that Houston was below 500 at home all year, but for them to not even be able to win one game at home, do you think that there was a reason, or do you think that was just the baseball gods at work there?
Oh man, you know what? If I knew that answer, I would be betting differently here. And with the first game on Friday, I'm going to sit here and go, hey man, they got 2 days off, and Arizona's got some serious hangovers to clean up before Friday.
Yeah, sure.
So I don't know where, but sometimes that makes people play better. You know what I mean?
Hey man,
Mickey Mantle played drunk, and he was pretty awesome.
There's a
No man,
yeah.
it's gonna be awesome. And two guys I know on that staff are I think they're on the sub rosters: Jace Peterson and Mark Melanson. And Bannister, former coach of mine, manager of mine too. So I don't have many more friends left out there, but it's going to be an interesting series. And again, I think I'm kind of leaning more towards trying to get some of my pocket change back on.
Yeah, that's right.
Where I'm leaning towards of who to favor. But it's almost like exciting, but it's almost sad at the same time, because as soon as baseball stops, people start going like, all right, when's the winter meetings? It's just, baseball is addicting, man. It's like an addiction that runs through your veins if you love it like we do, man.
Man, playoff baseball too just gets that juice going. You know what I mean? Like every single pitch is so intense, and then it's even more so when it's a game 7 and it's do or die. And I love, like, my favorite thing, like watching Jordan Montgomery come out of the bullpen for Texas, watching Zach Wheeler come out of the bullpen for the Phillies.
It's on deck, right?
Exactly. That's what it's all about, man. And
it is.
Yeah, that's another crazy thing I just learned. Philly had never played a game 7 in their franchise history. Isn't that nuts? Never played a game 7.
Listen, there's a lot of firsts and a lot of things. I mean, I didn't know that the bases were going to be the size of pizza boxes, but they're there. So there's lots of shit that we've talked about, that we've never seen. And it's like, we've seen pitchers that hit more home runs than Babe Ruth ever was, and, did. And stuff like that, man. That's why there are all these talk shows. What makes ours different? I don't know. Maybe people hate our mound visits, but I like them.
I do too. I enjoy them as well. That's right.
Else. But, hey man, it's gonna be awesome to see. I'm excited for Friday, Saturday, and again, I don't know. I'm leaning that the Diamondbacks might have the advantage going into this, even though it's at home, because I'm just gonna say Texas has had some time off.
Okay.
I'm gonna go stay
I like
with the
it.
theme. I'm staying with the theme of, if I believe in that, and I'm going to say I'm throwing Hondi down on, I'm going snake bit. At home, on the road, because the home teams are not winning. It doesn't matter right now. So those
apparently
two things,
not.
maybe I'm crazy, but I'm like, shoot, if red keeps hitting, why am I betting on black?
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know, because for me, the obvious pick should be Texas, just based on their skill on paper. Yeah. But when you look at
their bullpen, worries me though. Their bullpen,
it does. It really does.
Shaky, and I was so mad. Like the one pitch that I wish for Leclerc, and he was a young kid coming up, and I'm so cool to see how Tommy, he's done great as a closer. But why would you throw it down and in a changeup? He threw down and into little alligator arms, Altuve, with all that pop, man. And I was like, geez, that was the one pitch. I know he wanted back, but if I had to be critical of one pitch, you always got to get beat away. As a reliever late in the game, if you get beat away. Like I said, Garcia hit that home run, Oppo. Those are the kinds of home runs I'm like, I'm okay with giving those up. Because you know what? I got to give credit where credit's due. If a hitter can stay on it and drive it the other way, I know I've heard many of hitters' meetings, middle away approach, right? It's easy. These guys are so good. They can turn on 95 to 100 because that's just what the tendency is, right? Being able to pull. But when you can stay middle away and drive a ball away like Garcia did, even if it's on accident, get beat away, guys. If you're a reliever, get beat away because you can sit there and go, why did you throw a pitch down and in? The hitter's supposed to launch. Otherwise, you're going to get a Jose Bautista bat flip, and you're not going to like it. And the next guy you get up, you might get drilled. Right? Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, man. We had made a good sandwich today on this Mound visit, buddy.
Yes, we did. Absolutely. I mean, there's so much even more that we could discuss, but I think that's a good place to leave it for now, and we'll be able to talk. We'll have a couple games under the belt in the World Series by the next time we have our next Mound visit. But what a great couple of days of baseball. I mean, it really seemed like both of these series we were like, oh God, are these going to be sweeps? Like, are these even going to be competitive? And sure enough, 2 Game 7s back to back. It really doesn't get much better than that. And I personally cannot wait to see what happens in this series. And I love the fact that, you're kind of getting both the best of both worlds here. You're getting the superstar kind of loaded infield that the Rangers have, and they got a couple studs on the mound. You're getting studs on the mound in Arizona, but then you've got some under the radar young guys who are exciting, flashing, kind of looking like what a lot of people view this next wave of baseball being, with young, athletic, guys who can do a little bit of everything. I know a couple episodes ago I talked about the 2020 and 30-30 season and how that's made a comeback all of a sudden. Obviously the rule changes have something to do with that, but just an interesting tidbit to leave you on before we get out of here. And you were talking about the way that this tournament has set up since they, introduced 12 teams into the wild card and had the wild card series. The number 6 team, so technically the lowest ranked team in the tournament on the National League side, has made the World Series every year since they have introduced this tournament. How about that?
Again, I hope that these analytical people are looking at it. I think it's a sin that it's not worth balling out and winning your division. It means nothing.
Right?
Would you rather win your division or win a shot at the chance to play in the World Series? I know.
Just get in the dance, man. Just get in the dance.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's not like you engage like, oh, I'm playing for the wild card. You can't gauge that. But what I'm saying is the format has to be different. I feel like the top seed has to play the wild card and just go from there and give all the advantages to the teams that win the most. Why wouldn't you? They earned that.
Yeah.
You earned that. You obviously, you have the most wins. You've earned that. That's what you play for, to win.
It's going to be a fascinating discussion this offseason too, depending on how, what the outcome of this World Series is too. But either way, it's 2 wildcard teams in the World Series, a 90-win team, an 84-win team. It's going to be a fascinating discussion because is this going to change the way that teams approach the way that they build a team? They're like, you know what? Do we need to spend to win our division when we can just, we got pieces here. We have enough to make a wild card. Let's get in the dance, get hot at the right time. It's fascinating stuff.
85 to 90 wins, and you get a shot to go in. So, yeah, it's wild, buddy. There's a lot of jostling in there, but hey, always fun. Have a little discussion.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Case. For
great discussion today.
Thank you out there for joining the Mound Visit. We'd love to see you. Get your opinion. Join us. Case, roll us out, buddy.
Yeah, we got our social media, Instagram. We're on Twitter at Mound Visit Pod. You can hit us up there. Hit Grilli up on Twitter as well, and myself if you got any questions for that. And as always, the YouTube channel if you want to watch our ugly mugs on there. And then wherever you get your podcasts, you could find us there. So we really appreciate everyone tuning in. As always, we will see you on next week's Mound Visit.